Okay, next up, Jonathan. Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself, my friend. You're from where?
Canada.
Canada?
Little place called Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. So,
You know what I love about Canadians, it doesn't matter what conference I'm at. They could be 5% of the room, it always sounds like half the room. I love it. So you've been licensed since '08. In 2024, so last year, you closed 111 units personally. Your team did 207. The goal this year is 125 personally, and the team goal is 275. You've been in Glover U one-on-one coaching since 2023. You're a listing mastery graduate, systems of real estate graduate, team building graduate, marketing mastery graduate, sales rocket graduate, and you've hired us for your annual team advance 22, 23, and 24. Anything I'm missing there?
Ultimate Prospecting Day, I'm not sure, but yeah.
Ultimate Prospecting. No, you came to some live prospecting in Detroit. That's right. All right, good. So let's jump into your plan. So let's take a look at step 1A, know your results. I have the pleasure of coaching Jonathan personally, so I know he knows his numbers. So tell us what's going on here, Jonathan. What stands out to you when you look at your numbers from 2024? And by the way, everyone should be taking a picture of this because this is what a professional salesperson numbers look like.
So, I mean, other than I had to write this out about 15 times so people could take a picture of this. I really looked at the numbers and we dove in to see exactly kind of what I needed for contacts per day.
Yep.
Where my listings were at, because I wasn't really tracking how many appointments I was going on, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, before I really dived into Glover U. And, I was checking on their conversions. Their conversion is up this year with listings set to met to listings signed.
Yes.
And that has a lot to attribute to, because that was something that I think we lacked a little bit. A couple of years ago, we got into scripting and role playing. That's helped that number immensely.
What this tells me is you're doing a really good job of pre-qualifying your appointments because you're not just going on every single thing you set, but you're getting a high percentage of them.
That's correct. So we got really purposeful with our time this year with those appointments. Mm-hmm. And, really it came back to tracking things daily. And then, making sure we're looking at those results weekly as a team and individual and making sure we have those written down.
So I see you've got 31 contacts or 32 contacts to a closing. What sources do you work that it averages out to about 31 contacts to a closing?
I would say mostly, I'm not saying we have a massive database because we don't. I'm sure there's people in this room who have 10 times the size. Though we really go through our database and make sure we know our database very, very well. Yeah. We do a lot of open houses. We do a lot of hybrid farming, circle prospecting, big. Yep. So we really kind of rate what gives us our biggest return. Yep. But for me, it's probably now being in real estate for 17 years. It's past client referral, sphere of influence. Yep.
And you guys have definitely gone all in on that source. We're going to see that in a second. So let's go to the next page of your plan. And I wanted to take a look at the goals for the year, particularly gross income goal, $1 million. Will this be the first time hitting $1 million?
$1 million, yeah.
First $1 million. Let's hear it for that. That's awesome. Yep. So, people say, well, I notice, you guys sometimes repeat panelists, and we do that because when you put a number out here of $1 million, we just told the world about it.
That's right.
So I did this intentionally for you. Because all these people now are going to ask at the end of the year, did you make that $1 million?
Can't put it on the license plate, but I mean, true.
Oh, you can do 1M, You guys don't do vanity plates in Canada? Come on.
Yeah, we do.
All right. So let's go ahead to the next page. All right, your double down plan. It's pretty thorough. I was impressed. So you're doubling down on hybrid farming and circle prospecting. So you're doubling down through time and effort, resources, and skills. Tell me what's going on here when you think about your hybrid farming plan for 2025.
So, we really kind of jumped into hybrid farming probably a year and a half ago, got really purposeful with hybrid farming. The thing that I think I fell a little bit short on last year, and I take the blame for this, is we had a plan, we didn't implement everything in the plan. Yep. And this year we want to get a little bit more purposeful with the hybrid farm, going door to door, what we're giving out as far as, that the that the people in that hybrid farm are getting value from the
Sure.
information. It's
That's right.
not us making the contact.
Yep.
And I feel like originally that was kind of, let's get out and do
It was just go through the motions, go through the numbers of let's just make the contacts. Let's just start there.
Right. So we noticed when we started to do a few different things that the contacts started reaching out to us more. We were getting more follow-up. So when I talk about hybrid farm and circle prospecting, kind of time and effort, realistically, what we're looking at is what kind of value can we bring each and every time and the consistency of when we're doing it.
Yeah, that's smart. I love that. So let's talk about some of those other things. Let's go to the next page. Let's jump into your new source of business. So I picked this because we recommend, every year when we do a business plan that we release, we recommend you to choose from one of these 5 sources of business. And if you're wondering where we pick the 5, we look at 2 things. We look at what are we having success with, meaning what am I personally having success with and what our team is having success with, and then what are our clients having success with. And we do a little bit of the heavy lifting for you because we identify the 5 sources that you should focus on, but we don't ask you to go implement all 5. We say pick from one of the 5. And you chose agent-to-agent referrals, and you wrote out a pretty thorough plan. So tell me what's going on here.
Yeah, so it's actually funny because when I was going through kind of source to source, I didn't realize how many referrals I did get this past year and year before.
That's why we do that, part of the plan.
And, I said, I really don't pour into these people. Even though I send out a lot of referrals to the same people all the time.
Yeah.
And I do get a lot of referrals back.
Yep.
And, I always constantly get people asking, like, do you know someone here?
Sure.
Obviously, Glover, you Inner Circle gets the first crack at those. So,
Yep.
But one of the things I will say is I didn't have a plan for it. So I said, how can I better suit? Because realistically, if I can set my past clients up with someone, whether they're in Florida or Arizona,
Yeah.
it should be part of my plan to get me to that $1 million.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, because now what you're doing is you're calling attention to it, and it goes back to the 5 steps to do every January. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's our first step? What's our next step? And then once we implement the first one, we go to the second one. So for you, as you're implementing it right now, what is the first step to make this a new source of business for you guys?
Basically reaching out and making sure I'm like our hybrid farm and circle prospecting, bring value to them, bringing something that we're doing in our business in January.
Yep.
Reaching out to them.
So are you sharing with them, like are you sharing with agent to agents in your agent to agent database? Are you sharing with them what you're doing to build your business?
Absolutely.
So you're sharing knowledge with them.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that builds rapport.
Yep.
And it's just I think something that if I can bring value to them, I'll always be top of mind.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
So just like we talk about for buyers and sellers, add value. You're adding value to real estate agents, and you're using either stuff that you're winning with or notes from one of these events or whatever, and you're actually making that part of your value add plan to agent-to-agent referrals.
Exactly. So we'll take notes from obviously a couple books and notes from this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to implement that when we get back.
Yeah, so you're going to just set it up on an email campaign or something to add value to that group.
Absolutely.
I love that. Everyone should be doing that if you want to increase your agent-to-agent referrals versus just saying, look at me, I serve this market, here's how many homes I sell. All right, let's go to the next page. Video and social media strategy. Now, you're kind of like a calm, cool, collected, some would say a high C or a high analytical. How hard was this for you to write out a social media plan?
I was hoping this page would not come up, but to be honest, very hard because it takes all my efforts to even write that down and focus on it.
Yeah.
Now that I've got 1,100 people to see this, obviously I got to pull through on this.
Yes, correct.
But no, it's something that we've talked about for as one-on-one and group sessions for better part of 2 years. And
Yep.
if one thing that I get critiqued on a lot from our team and from you is, you got to be a little bit more involved on the social media side and the video and get comfortable with it. And realistically, in my day-to-day routine, I had to put it in my schedule.
Yes, you do.
Because literally that'd be the last thing I would do.
Yep. You have to plan content in your schedule. There's 2 things you plan. creating the content and administering the content. Now, a lot of you hire someone to administer the content, and that's fine, but you still have to plan what you're gonna write. You're gonna have to plan what you're gonna say in the video, what you're gonna write in the post. It can't just be willy-nilly when you think of it. It's gotta be scheduled, no different than you would schedule an appointment to prospect or an appointment to do lead follow-up.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it actually has to be there, and I have to have a reminder of it.
So you're doing one video per week.
One video per week, yeah.
Yep. And you're doing a post every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You already wrote them all out.
Correct.
Okay. Now we're all going to hold you accountable to it.
Yes.
All right. Let's go to the next page. I think we got one, maybe two more of Jonathan's. All right. Your new weekday routine. I was impressed with your new schedule. So when you think about 2024 to 2025, what's changing in your morning routine, Jonathan?
Realistically, this year, so a couple critiques. I mean, it would be, or a couple changes, I should say. Probably the big one is putting that time block in for, the social media, the content.
Yep.
Not thinking about it. Make sure that it's in my schedule, because if it's not my schedule, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The other thing was too, for me, being more of a high C, is I wanted to get back to the clients who were calling me, texting me.
Oh, yeah.
Do you got a minute? Those kinds of things.
Yep. Because it weighs on your mind.
Right, weighs on my mind. So I really implemented, making sure I had the acknowledgement in my schedule as well.
Yep.
A period of time for that, so that I could, and I would literally put my phone upside down so I couldn't see it.
Yes.
I'd be just calling out.
Yep.
I've trained people around me, I guess to give me the boundary that I don't have a minute every other minute.
Correct.
So I got really purposeful with that, and just added to it from last year. So that was probably the 2 or 3 big things.
Awesome. Do we have one more page? I think we have one more. Okay. Ooh, your weekend routine. This is why I included it, because I knew we were going to talk about the Saturday schedule. You've identified the Saturdays you're working.
That's correct.
What comes to mind when you talk about treating your Saturday like a Wednesday?
So, like most people, like I think you had mentioned earlier, everyone thinks I'm available for showings. My phone's on. And that was my mentality. I mean, and then, you set me straight on that and said, well, no, you're not in the office and those. So realistically, I've set through my calendar throughout the year what days I'm going to work.
Yep.
And my family knows it. My team knows it. So there's accountability held to that, so that I don't, say I'm going to take this week off and I actually work.
Yep.
But they know that I'm going to work these days. And so realistically on that, it's just pretty well keeping it the exact same as I can for, like you say, your Saturday should look like a Wednesday.
That's right. Yep. I love that. Any last things when you think about, you've gone all in the last couple years on our system, and you've applied it in your market, and obviously you guys were already successful, but now you're taking it to the next level. If I'm in the audience and I'm thinking what do I got to do to get to, you guys are like #1 market share in the province. What do I got to do to get to that level?
I think one of the big things is, and what I take for jumping into Glover U, is it's taking the small things, honestly. It's implementing the systems. It's diving in. There's a lot of times I say, well, that's not going to work here. That's not going to work here. This is, we do things.
You could easily say that. We're in the United States, for God's sakes.
So, for me, it was realistically trust the process. I had a few years where I didn't have a coach, and then I followed you guys for, probably 5-6 years prior to me even making the phone call.
Yeah.
Yes, we had success early, but I don't feel like we had the systems and the foundation in place so that we could leverage and grow our business to where it should be and could be.
Yeah. Well, it's been an honor coaching you and your team, who I know you guys brought. And it's been an honor interviewing all of you guys. And thank you for your transparency of allowing us to show your business plans, because a lot of people wouldn't be willing to do that. So let's hear for these guys for doing that. Yep.